This is James Lupton for Round 8 Boxing. Delighted to join with Mr. Lyndon Arthur. Lyndon, how are you, sir?
Good, mate. Good, good, good. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Firstly, the big question, has Chris Eubank Jr. paid you yet?
Not yet, no.
Still waiting on that, checking that invoice.
I think I've got to send an invoice or something and see what happens.
Listen, April 26th, Anthony Yarde Trilogy fight. It's been over 3 years since you last fought him. Did you ever think this fight would happen, the third one?
Yeah, at some point. At some point, I think it made sense. Whichever way or why it's happening, I think at some point it would have made sense for me and him to fight at some point. So
I see an interview with Anthony and IFL TV about a month ago, and he felt like there was no unfinished business. He felt like he had sort of put the story to bed essentially between the two of you. Obviously, it's one apiece. For me, it makes sense to have that trilogy fight to really put it to bed.
yeah, exactly that. So that's why we're fighting now, though. So it can all not make sense in anybody's head at once, but it's happening and that's it.
Absolutely. Do you think Anthony has improved since your last fight?
I've not really watched him. I think I watched him against Peterbia, but I'm not sure if he's even fought after that. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
He's had a couple of fights since the Paterbia fight. No one of real note, I suppose, fair to say. Obviously, you'll feel that you have improved since your last fight with Anthony, but how have you improved, Lyndon?
I don't know. I don't think you will have seen. See, I've not boxed. I mean, I boxed Liam Cameron and I boxed Suarez, and I know I've boxed Bivol, and I've been in the ring with some good operators, and I've won some fights, some tough fights. Obviously, I beat Liam Cameron, and Liam Cameron went and beat. Well, I say beat, but he went on a good fight against Ben Whitaker. He got a rematch coming up. Um, I don't know. I'm probably a lot more seasoned, I guess, since then.
With obviously that Liam Cameron fight you mentioned there, that sort of aged well now. People look at it at the time when you fought and said, well, he's out of the ring for such a long time. He's not a massive name, even on domestic scene at that time, and they've probably almost wrote him off before he got in the ring with yourself. But now they're giving him his flowers. Do you feel that you get your flowers for your ability?
Nah, boxing's a forgiving, a forgetful sport. Sorry, so like that, my fight now with him is in the shadows. It makes no difference because of the performance that he put up against Ben Whitaker. So it just overshadowed my the fact that I beat him, irrelevant to how I beat him or irrelevant to anything that happened.
Talked about the since the last yard fight. Have you changed anything in camp? Has anything in the gym or your mentality and mindset changed at all over the last few years?
My mentality for this fight has most definitely. I'm excited for it and I'm ready and in a sense I've got the fear factor again in a fight where I respect the fight.
Obviously, you could look at this fight and feel you want revenge for the last result. How do you turn that thought and that process into motivation?
I don't want to lose. I really, really don't want to lose. That's just it.
What have you learned since the last fight of Anthony about yourself?
Um, don't know. I suppose I mean, you can say I've learned off the Bivol fight just through going in there and being in there for 12 rounds with Bivol on a short notice without any training. I mean, I probably learned a little bit about myself in that aspect, but I don't think I already knew beforehand. Like, I know why I lost. I know why I might not perform good in the Liam Cameron fight. I know why. It's just being aware, more aware, I suppose.
We've spoke a few times over the years, and you're a very laid back, chilled out character. You don't really let emotions take control of fights or fight camps. In my opinion, anyway, at least you don't put that across in the public eye. You just mentioned there about the Anthony Yarde fight, and you show a lot of desire, a lot of emotion almost in wanting this win, being excited for it, and not wanting to lose this fight. Why does this fight stand out for you at this stage of your career?
It's a grudge match, and it's whichever way you want to put it about you don't think he needs to settle the score or whatever. It's still 1-1, and so it's a sense of bragging rights kind of thing, and it's a sense of actually putting it to bed properly. Um, and it's also pride as well, and it's a big show, and it's boxing's thriving at the minute. So from a win on this card or in this era of boxing we're coming into now can going forward can mean massive things.
Obviously, you never think about losing. You obviously mentioned you don't want to lose this fight, but is this fight a crossroads fight for the pair of you, for whoever loses?
In a sense of what retirement.
In sense of no, in sense of sort of world title, the elite level, is this potentially the level that the loser stays at, if that makes sense, on that fringe world level?
I don't know, man. Boxing's a crazy sport, is. Boxing's a back and forth sport. Look at Parker, for example. He got beat off Joe Joyce and then come back and beat Wilder, beat Zhang, beat whoever he's beat, and he's about to fight Usyk maybe. So like. Just beat Bacola just the other day, regardless of Bacola coming in on days notice. Boxing's a crazy sport, and then George got beat off Chisora. But boxing's back and forth. One win changes everything in the aspects of them kind of things. But I understand what you're saying. Um, possibly, possibly could be that.
I mean, you say boxing's a crazy sport. I think that's the biggest understatement we could say on this interview because boxing is an absolute madness at times. And like you say, one fight changes everything. I mean, I can see how big this fight is for yourself. You mentioned obviously the magnitude of it. It's a huge card at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium down in London, 60,000 in attendance roughly on the night. Does that excite you as well?
Yeah, man. Most definitely. I've always wanted to fight in a stadium. Never had the chance to. And I'm now getting a chance to. Been in quite a few big cars actually. It's, but this is exciting, most definitely.
You almost had a bit of a realization just then where you said, actually, I've been on some big cards, but obviously not a stadium fight. In terms of your career and the trajectory it's been from start to now, are you proud of yourself yet? Or is that something you look at when you retire?
I'm proud of myself because I know that it would never have looked like this from the outside looking in years ago. Do you know what I mean? So I'm proud of myself, and I'm proud that my mum proud of me, and I'm proud that I give my son and my daughter something to look up to in a sense of achievements and stuff. And I'm proud of where I've come from to where I am now. Definitely proud of myself. I will be even more proud of when I finish, when I retire. I'll give myself some good nights to look back on, and you know,
Talk to me about you mentioned their achievements and talk to me about your goals. What is your motivation? What is it that gets you up every morning in that gym every day?
I want to be rich. I want to be rich. I need to my son likes a lot of expensive things. So do I. So I want to be rich, and I want to be. I would also love to win a world title, but with that comes that they both go hand in hand, whichever way you look at it, whether you want a world title or whether you want the money side of things. But no one would box without money, so
It's a very open and honest answer that, you say obviously if you win a world title, great, that comes hand in hand really, but obviously it's a financial thing. Do you think throughout your career since day one to now you've learnt more that it's a business?
yeah, most definitely.
How was that for you when you first realized that when obviously from back as a kid in the gym you want to be world champion and all of a sudden the mindset changes over and goes, actually this isn't a sport, it's more of a business and
No, 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 no. The mindset's not changed. I was still look being a world champion is the pinnacle of the of in the sport. But without the money, without the funds of boxing, who would box? who would really box. We'd done it as amateurs for years and years and years without really getting. Sorry, someone's phoning me.
You are, I still got you. I can hear you.
Without, without really getting any money. So without it, you wouldn't. I don't know. A lot of people wouldn't. So it just goes hand in hand, like I said.
Absolutely. Not only that, you still got bills to pay and mouths to feed. Do you know what I mean? Um, mention obviously world top aspirations. How close do you feel you are from that? Is it this win here and then
Not far away for beat Yard. The next fight after that could be one, or it could be another. It could be a big fight with a Callum Smith or Bawazir, or or whoever Spider Richards, whoever else. Like, but there's always a fight away in it. There's always a fight away.
so the names you mentioned there, Smith, Boatsy, Richards, also obviously a fighting yard. Do you prefer the big domestic fights when it's almost bragging rights like you mentioned earlier, between the two British guys?
Rather than what?
Rather than, a foreign opponent, for example.
Oh yeah, 1,000,000%. And obviously, unless it's a world title, like, I'd much rather go in and fight before. You know what I mean? Obviously, but for a world title, but well, like just below that, these fights are these are normally the best. Callum Smith and Boxer the other day. Like, these are the best ones. You know what I mean? The rivalries, there's rivalries, there's grit in it. There's not hatred, but kind of like a brag. Like because this is our country. This is the country we're born and raised in. So
No, absolutely. We mentioned about the card, massive card, excited to be a part of it. So Riyadh's and Turki AlAlSheikh is coming to boxing recently and he's putting on all these big fights, these real 50-50s, these fight of the year contenders throughout the card. There's been a proposed boxing league that he's put forward with Dana White, etc. It sounds like they're trying to do something a bit similar to UFC model where there's one champion in one division. For you, is that a good thing?
um, I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. It all sounds good, I suppose, but I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, as a fighter for you, is it a case of everything's on the outside, it's all just outside noise, you just focus on you,
No, no, because for me, it was that it'll be completely, it's alien in it, like it's completely new. So to me, growing up through the years and years from a kid watching boxing, it's always been WBA, IBF, IBO. That Gem Champions are watching Roy Jones, he had all the belts, watching Mike Tyson's, he had the belts, the Mayweather's, Pacquiao's, all these man that I've watched growing up, they had all the belts. So to me, that's boxing. This new sport might this new thing might be good for it. I don't know. We'll have to see.
and then just finally, obviously, the main event on your fight night will be Eubank Ben, a big grudge match there as well. We saw recently Eubank get fined £100,000 for putting an egg round Conor Ben's face. But for you,
Yeah.
just a quick prediction, how do you see that?
But no, I said this over there that I generally don't know. Like you kind of just keep going this way and that way with it. Like you think can Conor Ben come up 2 weight classes and then and just throw because you just feel like he's gonna just run at Eubank and just throw a million punches, but then you can get caught off Eubank. Eubank's the bigger guy. I don't know. It's just one of them. I'll be excited. I'll be excited to watch the whole build up's been fun up to now as well, isn't it? So no, not long. 6 weeks left to go, and we'll see.
With that, you mentioned Conor Ben getting emotional and getting personal with it. How much does that take away from a game plan and
I
how
don't
much
know
of
because
a detriment would it be?
he's just like that anyway. And like he's not like he's acting out of character. He's just an angry little man anyway. And so like I don't think that's gonna change anything. I think he's been wanting to. He's like that. You see him in interviews. He's passionate. He's emotional. He's invested in himself and he's invested in every fight that he's in. He really wants to win, and he's come a long way from when he had that little ding dong with that French kid that he had to go and have a rematch with, and then he's come a long way from there. Whichever way you look at it, whether you think he was on heads or whether you thought or not, he's come a long way, and he's now in probably probably the biggest fight he's ever going to be in. Regardless of world titles and all that, like this fight is bigger than any fight he's ever going to be in, even going forward. Do you know what I mean? because of the heritage and the history behind it. 30 years on from his dad's fight. It probably would be hard not to be emotionally invested in yourself, especially when they both based off the dads. Like they, but no matter which way you put it, no matter how much you want to say, they both come out of the dad's shadow. They both based on the dads. Each angle like Nigel used to be in, and Chris is a bit more relaxed and a bit more laid back and a bit more professional-ish. You know what I mean? Like he speaks very well and he's very antagonizing with his lackadaisical way of talking, like very just not asked about you. You know what I mean? So and they both like the dads. It's a mirror image. So this is a. I'm just excited for this fight. I'm excited.
That's, it should be a good one and a good card start to finish as well. And like you say, part of that is exciting for you in your career. Lyndon, that's all I wanted to ask you. Thank you very much for your time. Always a pleasure speaking to you and best of luck 6 weeks' time.
Thank you very much.